What you don't realize on the 400s,
Yeah.
right? The 400s have helical cut gears on their planets. Okay. It takes 20% of your horsepower engine to run the 400. Okay.
That's why it feels a little the like kind of doggy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at when I shift to second gear. And every 400 turbo that I've ever ran, there's a little, just a fuzz. I could feel it like it. Mm-hmm. So the meshing in the gears is killing horsepower.
It takes 20% of your horsepower.
Well, it's been a little bit, hasn't it? This is episode we don't know. Welcome to Palmer Power Motorsports, everybody. And this week we got Frank Bentancourt, the Python Man.
All right. You said it right, Dave. You got it.
All right. Cool deal. Sorry we haven't gotten with everybody. Now, everybody, please make sure you subscribe, hit like, and everybody, tune in every week to us so that we can get the ball rolling on this thing. So, but I got old Frank here. I like to call him Frankie, and he's a transmission man.
I see how you throw the old in.
Well, I mean, they call me old man now too. Yeah. Well,
I don't feel it, so I'm good.
There you go. Well, hey, now tell us. I know everybody out here is wondering. Your business is here in Salsall.
Yes.
Which the business you run's ATM transmissions.
Correct. Yes.
But you're changing it over to Python.
Correct.
Which was an old name that you had whenever you had your business out of state, right?
Out of state in Maryland.
And what made you come up with Python?
Python. I came up with a Python because I had a wife back then, and her dad owned a construction company. Yeah. And he was a herpetological guy that raised pythons and things to effect, snakes, all kinds of different snakes.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, cobras.
I'm not a snake. I'm not a snake guy.
Man. But I'm going to tell you, his company was named Python, and I got the idea from that. Yeah. So my thing with it is what am I going to do to grab transmission shops? There's, you got Frankie transmissions, you got Jimmy's transmissions. I wanted the public to tune in to the name. Yeah. Well, we'll catch their name. And remember, so what I got from it, when I named it Python, the travelers going through the shop, see the sign, and when people ask, where's the transmission shop over here? Well, they didn't know all the transmission shops, so they were, wow, that's Python transmissions. I see it. It's a Python. Who would name a transmission shop Python transmissions? That was their whole reaction of it.
Well, Python does stand out. It's a cool name.
Yeah, it stands out.
And I'm glad you're going back to it. Now, Frank here has built me several transmissions, and definitely next level, man. Never have had an issue or anything. And now you do have some experience in the racing scene.
Yes.
And the big monster trucks and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, now, what was the first race transmission you ever built? Who was that for?
The race transmission I built was actually for the monster truck. There's a picture I have in the shop. So a monster truck.
Now, when was that? Was that back
was in Dover, Delaware.
Delaware.
So it was 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
And this guy, the shop I was working for in Dover, Delaware, is a privately owned shop, family-owned shop. Yeah. Called me up out of the blues in the phone. Hey, can you build a Chrysler transmission? I said, sure. I can build your Chrysler. Blindfolded. So anyway, he comes up, and I'm in the office on the phone, and I hear this wham, doors rattling and stuff. I said, but before he came out, it's an 18-wheeler that said Mopar Magic on it.
Mopar Magic.
Chrysler dealerships across the street. Shit. This guy's lost the parts delivery, right? Yeah. So he cranks this thing up, and I'm hearing the doors rattling and everything, this and that. So I come out, and I see this guy pulling out this rig out of this 18-wheeler. It's a 4x4 truck. And I can't hear him. And he's like, and he shuts it down. Hey, leans over the door. Are you Frank? And I says, yeah, that's me. And he says, well, I'm the guy that called you, but that Chrysler transmission. You didn't tell me it was a monster truck. So I said, all right. He says, well, I'm here already. Can you still do it? Sure, I can do it. No problem. I walked in underneath the truck, put the tranny out.
Was it a stick or automatic?
Automatic. He was pushing 1,500 horsepower to that truck.
Yeah, I heard they do push something.
Oh, yeah. They push something. His thing was that he's gone through 6 guys before me, and he couldn't lift off from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was done. The transmission's blown right there. It's done. So he decided that he found me and he said, can you do it? I just want to finish a couple of nights. That's all I want to do. Yeah. I haven't been able to do that. I tell you what.
And this was like the full-blown monster truck.
Oh, yeah, full-blown monster truck. Yeah. You have to, you can't put the truck in the rig without taking the wheels that it has, the big wheels. They got to put these tractor type.
They're amazing when you see them in person.
Oh.
Have you seen one? God, they're
powerful. Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And, it's a small world, though, because the Dodge dealership here locally, they had a Dodge-Minator monster truck. They were showing it. Yeah, they were showing it here. I didn't know that. And
Dodge-Minator.
Yeah, they call it a Dodge-Minator.
No Palmer.
Yeah. I mean, an awesome truck. And I talked to the driver and the owner.
You don't want to look up the definition of Palmerized.
Palmerized. So I talked to the guy, and I asked the guy, hey, have you ever had Mopar Magic running your circuit? And the guy stares at me, Mopar Magic? Is it a purplish color type blue truck? And I said, yeah. And he says, that's my uncle. So what I did is, hold on a second. So I went back to the shop, grabbed the picture I have in the shop, showed it to him. He says, that's the same photo I have. That's my uncle. And I said, where'd you meet him at? And I said, I built the transmission on that truck. You're the one, because he told me that he went to Dover, Delaware, and he had somebody built that transmission on his truck that he finished the nights that he was happy about. Yeah. So I'm the guy that did it. What?
And it held.
Oh, it held. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. I couldn't get no others. And that's the thing is, Frank here, I know every time that I've had him build one for me, you give me your honest opinion. That's what we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Drives me nuts when everybody's cheap. Yeah. I'm not trying to send you people to cheapskate you. The deal is, if you guys want a quality transmission, you're going to call Frank here. He's going to give you his honest opinion.
I'm straightforward.
And he's one of those gurus. This ain't like your regular transmission guy. You're going to figure it out.
I'm going to figure it out one way or the other.
And he likes the shit.
Yeah.
If he doesn't know, he's going to tear it down. He's going to figure it out.
I'll figure it out. And some transmissions, a lot of people think, oh, it's just a case. And this, no, it's not. There's a lot of stuff to transmissions. There's 426 transmissions out there of different making models.
Now, hey.
Who knows that?
Yeah. You. Hey, your honest opinion. Yeah. Who builds the best transmission? Your opinion.
Who builds the best transmissions?
Yeah. I mean, overall, you think that would, longevity?
As far as
let's say everyday use, and then let's say racing. Which one you think's stoutest?
4L80E is a stout unit. The 4L80E. The 700, not the 4L60E electronics.
Yeah.
Those are good units. They have their issues, but it can be modified.
What makes the 4L80 so much better than the 60?
They have a lot more better, strong components, a lot better planets internally.
Okay.
And
but are they basically the same transmission except one's just beefed up?
Well, the 4L80E is come from the 3-speed automatic. That's a 400 transmission Chevrolets. So the same transmission.
So the 4L80 is an old school 400.
400, except they added in the overdrive.
Everybody learns.
Yeah. They added the overdrive.
I should charge for that shit. I'm waiting for donations still, people.
Yeah, that's it. Something, a little bit of something.
Just a pinch. I didn't ask for no meat on the bone. I need a little gristle. Yeah. Just, you take the side of the bone and you still eating on that gristle because that shit was so good.
It tastes good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. But
so the 4L80 back to, because me, I know enough to get myself hurt, but I know a little bit. Mm-hmm. So the 4L80 is like the old school 400 but with an overdrive,
with the overdrive section put into it. Yeah.
And the 4L60 is what, like the 350
That's
turbo?
a 350 200, 350
with an overdrive.
with an overdrive. Yeah.
That is bad. I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, there may be you YouTubers that are going to argue with him out here, but there's no sense in it. He is the man on these trannies. So
Yeah. It's a lot to them. It's a lot to the transmissions. Anybody can be a builder. Anybody can be a rebuilder.
like me, whenever I run a 350 turbo compared to a 400. Now, this is my honest opinion. Anything that's I'll give some little secrets out here to you YouTubers. Anything that's about 3,400 pounds or less in drag racing, I'll run the 350 turbo.
Yeah.
Anything that's a little heavier than that, I'll run the 400 turbo.
Yes.
Now, in a really, really light car, I'll run a 350 turbo over a 2-speed power glide.
Yeah.
And the reason why is the 1-to-1 ratio and the way that the second gear pulls, even that little bit of delay time whenever you shift, you're still going to get quicker times with a 3,000-pound car or lighter with a 350 turbo than you would a 2-speed power glide.
Right. And
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's that ratio. It launches a little harder. It's snappy.
Yeah.
But anything over 3,400 pounds, the weight, the 350 turbo seems to can't handle it.
Yeah.
You know, but, and you know what? Something else, everybody says, oh, a 400 turbo is just a beefed up 350 turbo. I don't know about that, man, because whenever I shift a 400 turbo, there's, even with a snappy shift kit or something, there's a little funky delay, just a fuzz to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And the 350, I think the reason why they break, not only are they built lighter, the casing and stuff is what I've heard.
Right.
They're a lighter transmission, even physically lighter. Man, when I hit a 350 turbo, it snaps.
Oh, it will. Oh, yeah. 350, if you synchronize the shift pattern perfectly fine with a 350, it will do what the car needs to have.
Yeah, and all those secrets we just gave everybody out there, you have to bring at least 1,000 more subscribers each.
Yeah. Plus.
I'm sick of this shit.
But, 350 is a good unit, 400 is a good unit, but what you don't realize on the 400s,
Yeah.
right, the 400s have helical cut gears on their planets. Okay. It takes 20% of your horsepower engine to run the 400.
That's why it feels a little, the like kind of doggy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at when I shift to second gear. And every 400 turbo that I've ever ran, there's a little, just a fuzz. I could feel it like it. So the meshing of the gears is killing horsepower.
It takes 20% of your horsepower.
See, guys?
And then the other transmission is identical to the 400. Okay, it's a 475. The 475, you get that out of a school bus that has a brake drum on it. Well, the gears on that is all straight cut gears.
So straight cut gear transmission takes less horsepower.
Oh, yeah.
What about the
power in, power out? That's it.
Okay, what about the 4L60? Is it straight cut?
No, they're helical cuts.
So all the new ones are helical cut.
Helical cuts.
Now, why do they do that?
The helical cuts are just designed from the factory that way to it's just for every average day driving to begin with. And straight cut gears, the reason they came up with that is because of the fact of the school busing. It needed launching power in and power out. That's it. Is that
why that 350 turbo is so snappy? Like it'll.
Well, the 350 turbo is because it's got a simple system, okay, and you can do some certain modifications to get it to snap that way. It's just synchronizing the calibration.
Well, I mean, the 400 turbo I got in my Chevelle, it's it's got all the goodies. The work's done to it too, but it just, now I know though, it's killing a little bit of horsepower.
It gets a little bit of horsepower. Yeah.
That's what's
going
on.
People don't know.
So look at this guy right here. Now, hey, what about the old school transmissions? Now, my dad's got one. He's got a stick, and it's like an old 3-speed. But he's got this damn switch that he hits, and it pulls in like a magnet or something, and it shifts on up into a higher gear. He lets out, clicks that switch, and gives it gas again, and it's like it hits another gear.
That would be the overdrive
Like old
it's
school, and it's a stick.
Yeah, it's a stick shift with the overdrive.
Like a magneto one.
In the back end.
But you know you can do it for every gear, and it actually will turn it
helps
into a 6-speed.
It helps it, yeah. It helps
and
it dramatically.
he was drag racing that sumbitch. Yeah, that's crazy.
But, you know, when it comes to drag racing and stuff, transmissions itself, a lot of guys like the hard shifting. I want this thing to shift hard. Yeah, but you're going to break things.
Yeah.
You don't want it shifting hard.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like the guy that romps on it out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
He'll twist the drive shaft.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're jerking shit.
Yeah. You want it when it makes a shift, you want it compressing the friction plates. You don't want it a rough shift.
I think the reason why they want the snappiness is losing time.
Yeah.
You know, afraid of losing a little bit of tenths of a second.
Yeah. The shorter the shift, the earlier the shift, the better for the car.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're right, that snappiness.
Oh yeah.
I know that last 350 turbo I had, buddy. I mean, when you hit it, it sounded like one of them crotch rockets popping. Pow! Pow! You know, and you're like, holy. But it never broke.
That's it. That's it. You want it breaking at all.
So, a question about these transmissions, because I know we're putting together, this is how advanced Frank here is. He's actually developing a 4L80E that's going to be electronically controlled on paddle shift to mate to a twin turbo Viper motor Gen 5 that we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I ain't going to tell everybody what we're fixing to do.
Import a Dodge with General Motors.
That's right. We're going to have a make love.
Hybrid. That's going to work.
Like the Shadaj. That's what we used to Shadaj.
It's gonna work. I mean, the 480E would have been a better unit.
Okay, good. What do you think of the old 2-speed power glides?
They're phasing out. The 2-speed power glides are phasing out. A lot of racers used to use a lot of the power glides. They're phasing out with it. They're going to 350s.
Strong?
They are for 1 speed, 1 gear. That's it.
I think it's to help guys that can't. Well, I wouldn't say drive as good. I think it's that too. Some guys that don't have enough power to spin the wheels, it kind of keeps them from blowing the tires off right out of the gate because they got a taller gear.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So they come out and the car just boop, and it's gone.
It's gone.
And they just shift one time. So that helps them with their, especially bracket racers.
Mm-hmm.
But me, even whenever I was trying to bracket race a little bit against those guys, I like to shift and stuff. I don't know. There's something about driving
the
the
shift.
car.
Yeah.
Cramming gears.
It's boom. Every time it makes a shift, boom. But the horsepower, you can have all the horsepower you want in the engine, but if you don't have that transmission synchronized, what's good is the horsepower gonna do?
Yep.
Gotta have a transmission that's gonna push out the power that engine's producing. Then you got your differential. Differential is your number one power tech stuff to make sure you synchronize that it gets everything out to the back end, that car going.
Yep.
That's that differential.
Now this dirt racing, I know we've talked about it a little bit and stuff, and he's dabbling in some of that stuff. So all you guys that's got these Saginaw transmissions and all these others, and you want to have a edge. Cheater. Frankie here has kind of told me that he can, make that happen.
Yeah.
So we can make anything happen.
Make it happen.
So you guys are interested in any of this, tell them your phone number.
918-774-8162. And my name is Frank.
There you go. And whenever you guys, need to get one of these things built or something, or an idea on what you're wanting, just get with you. And now, what's going on with these? I don't want to dip and dabble too much. Mm-hmm. What do you think that they're doing with these transmissions that look like automatics with a false torque converter? It's in dirt racing, and they're somehow, the only reason why they get that false torque converter is so whenever they look through the little hole, they can see a torque converter and it's got fluid in it.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I gather from the race car guys, they don't. It's not a working torque converter.
That's not. No, it's not a working torque converter. They're using the torque of the converter internally. That's it. It's like the.
I wondered how that worked.
It's like the.
They could still put it in gear.
Oh, it's still putting gear. It's all it's used for is just to spin the shaft, the input shaft. It's almost like a clutch in a stick shift, except it's not.
Well, my cousin told me that whenever he lets off the throttle, or not his, but a friend of his, whenever he let off a throttle, he borrowed one or something. He said that, on a stick shift like a Saginaw or Bird or Brin like mine,
Right.
when you let off the gas, the transmission bogs the motor down. Brrr, in the corner. Well, he said that automatic, he lets out and it just still flies.
It flies.
It's coasting.
Yeah.
So is that why they're doing that?
Yeah.
So that they can
Just keep on going.
I wonder why they would want that. He actually told me that it's phenomenal, that he loves it. But
it's a whole different sensation.
yeah, it's got to be. Because me, when I'm running up on them cars and I let out, it kind of bogs me down a little bit and I can kind of judge. I can't imagine when they're wide open, the car's still...
It's like the CVT.
Andrew.
They came out with the CVT transmissions, constant velocity transmissions. That's the same concept. It's just constant velocity. In other words, you let go and you pick up speed. It's constant velocity. There's no give and take.
Now, this Porsche I got out here, I've been thinking about... and yes, it is a Porsche. People are going to be calling... We ain't donating shit to you, Dave.
It is a porch. I saw it.
Anyways, it's got a man. It looked like the damn flywheel and shit was spinning in the rear end. I had the wheel off yesterday. I'm serious. It had like this casing in the back, and there was a drive shaft that went up to the motor, and there's no transmission up there.
It's in the back.
The transmission must be in the back. Because I could see that damn flywheel
just
spinning.
like the Corvettes, the newer Corvettes. They have a tube that goes all with the engine.
Yeah.
Clutches in the front by the engine, but transmissions in the back.
So what do you... is there a way that we can... I've been thinking about LS and that Porsche.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a way that we could...
Oh, yeah. Everything's possible.
Yeah, I know. Throw enough money at it, right?
And if you know Dave... Yeah, everything's possible.
I know, we try some
He doesn't accept. He does not accept that nothing's possible. It's everything's possible.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Frank, why don't you right quick? Where are you from, bub?
I was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas.
Is that right?
Yeah. I was born and raised
Cowboy
in
hat
Texas.
and belt buckle.
The
and
whole
all
works. Yeah. I used to do my Yahoo.
See, all you guys thought he was Spanish, but he's not. He's a redneck.
I'm a Texan. Yeah. But I moved from there to Dover, Delaware when I was 26 years old.
Is that when you got? Was that your? How many times have you been married?
Too many times.
No comment.
Yeah, too many times. That's it. I haven't learned my lesson.
He's got him. Hell, his old lady's younger than mine. Yeah, I think so.
Hey, it's all good.
Yeah.
But I moved from there to Dover, Delaware, and from Dover, Delaware to Maryland.
To Maryland.
Yeah.
Did you like Maryland?
Yeah, I loved it in the area where I was at. Yeah, I loved it. It's awesome.
I've never been to Maryland.
I was living by the water, down by the water area, and it's away from the cities.
Yeah.
D.C., Baltimore, and all that.
A lot of snow and ice.
Oh yeah,
Big time.
Oh yeah. If people think the snow is not heavy, it's heavy. When your car gets plowed under, it's definitely heavy.
I bet you were fixing all kind. Now, were you doing transmissions up there at that time, weren't you?
Transmissions.
You were working for that other guy.
For the transmission shop up there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so, what made you come this way? You just want to get back near
Got married.
Texas?
Got married.
Did you?
And then moved up over here, and been here 15 years.
There you go.
15 years.
In Sallisaw?
Sallisaw. Yeah.
The whole time?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. And you told me here recently you was living outside of town. Now you moved back in.
Yeah, I've been living in Muldrow. Now I moved back in. Shop is over here by 59 South, where you pass Ford dealership, make a left. And You'll see.
Yeah, but that's only temporary.
Yes.
In 3 months,
Yeah.
he's moving over by Amco. Yeah.
Yep. That's where I'm heading to. By next by Amco.
Yeah, and he's changing ATM to the Python. So he's splitting from a partner he's got. Yeah. He's going to just do the whole business himself. So, well, you're the hustler, anyways.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're the brains of the outfit. So I don't blame you.
I like to help people that get involved with transmissions and stuff. Yeah, they got a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there, and these guys don't get help, especially if they're in the financial crunch and stuff. They don't have the help from anybody, and you get to the point where you talk to people and this, and it's just like going to the web. You see all this information, but then you still gotta review it all. Doesn't mean all that's right.
Oh no.
Yeah. So.
Oh God. I mean, like, even books.
Yeah.
Even when I get a manual like a SA Design or a Chilton's manual, they don't have everything in there.
Yeah, they don't.
There's few little things left out.
You gotta know what to look for, and these guys, they'll call me, and I'll help them out on the phone.
Well, that's cool.
Just tell them, do this, do this, do this, do this. And
I should write a book with it.
Yeah.
Well, a while back, I wanted to do transmissions for dummies.
Well, I mean, hey, this transmission tip he just gave a while ago, holy smokes, if you don't specialize in trannies. I mean, I didn't know that they were that close. I mean, the closest I know is the bolt patterns match up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, because I've been to LS and some cars, you know. I know that you can hook them up to old trannies, but I didn't know it was basically a similar transmission with an overdrive.
That's it.
That's cool.
Similarities.
So
and there's different categories in the transmission. It doesn't matter how it's designed. You have 3 categories. It's mechanical operation, it's the components, hydraulical operation, and electrical. So you have these 3 categories. You have to learn these 3 categories. You just can't say, oh, I know how to build transmissions, take them apart, put it together. Okay, what's the pressures in park, reverse, neutral, overdrive?
How hard is it to find a tech to help you?
It's hard. It's hard. I'm one of the few builders today
that really knows.
Yeah, to build. Yeah.
Not just a parts changer. You know, that's the deal is a lot of kids these days, you know this. Yeah. And I've said this over and over at these damn dealerships and everywhere else. They go in there and they just plug a scanner in. It tells them what's the matter. They go change those parts. Mm-hmm. Do you really know what's going on there?
Well, the thing is...
They kind of do. Kind of.
The clutches are burnt. Okay, why are they burnt? Why are those clutches burnt?
Yeah.
You got to figure it out. Was it clutch clearance? Was it the lip seal got soggy, soft? Or is it because the drum's not seating properly? Is it exhausting more than it needs to be? You got to figure all this out.
Well, and some good advice you gave me was about the Cummins. Yeah. You could tell everybody about that. Like whenever I said, hey, I just need I need a quick rebuild. I need it to last decent. It's in a work truck. Mm-hmm. And you said, well, that's all fine and dandy, but the torque converters.
Torque converters.
And you started telling me something about...
Torque converters, I put billet converters in them.
Because the factories are weak.
Yeah, factories are weak.
And they'll crack around where they bolt to the flywheel.
Well, actually, the torque converter it heats up too much, way too fast. And it just starts...
Yeah, so you guys with all these Cummins trucks... Mm-hmm. You heard it here first.
And the thing is that not only that, the sad part about it is that you got now 6-speed automatics, 7-speed automatics, 8-speed automatics, 9-speed automatics coming out in the market. Yep. And a problem issue is the torque converter. They're utilizing the torque converter 4 different times in the transmission, the 6 speeds and all that. Yeah. And it heats them up and it breaks them down.
Does it?
Now put billet converters on the 6-speed automatics.
What's a way to, I mean, besides the billet, is there any other preventive maintenance that people could do?
Well, you can do calibrations and stuff for the converters and stuff to produce the pressure the converter needs. Okay? But servicing the transmission is your number one thing. You want to keep that transmission cool at all times. If you don't service the transmission in any way, form, you're going to have a transmission problem.
So about how many miles you think on average?
I've seen them at 48,000, 78,000.
No, I mean when people need to change fluids in a filter, what would you recommend?
Depending how you work your vehicle or your truck.
Say just daily driver.
If you're a daily driver, every 12,000 miles, you got to do it at least.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, I don't even do mine. I need to do
Right,
No wonder I've been bringing my shit to him. I'm burning the hell out of him.
Well, heat is a disaster for transmissions.
What's it? I mean, I understand the heat. What's it do? Break down the fluid?
The fluid breaks down. It no longer protects it from heat. It's gotta be protected from heat. Some seals can withstand so much temperature. It's like cooking a steak. If you ever cook a steak, hey, you raise the heat up, you're gonna burn that.
So
steak.
Me putting like that external cooler, light cooler on the Chevelle, that'll help.
That helps. Yes, that helps.
And what's a good temperature for most trannies?
And the temperature of the tranny stays at 180 below.
180 below.
Yeah. Any higher than that goes to 200. You're in the borderline. Any further higher than that, yeah, it's gonna start cooking your seals.
I got you.
Yeah, they start getting hard.
Yeah,
very hard. Yeah.
So that's what it's doing. It's cooking the seals, and when it breaks down the fluid, I mean, fluid's fluid, isn't it? I mean, you can just compress it.
Yeah, fluid's fluid, but they're coming out with. That's the part of the understanding of the fluid. Yeah. I'll give you an example on the stick shift. You'll understand the automatics.
Yeah.
Stick shift have brass rings, but everybody recognizes them as synchro rings. Okay. Inside the rings, it has grooves. It's beside the grooves that go this way, but it got grooves going this way. Mm-hmm. Well, those grooves, depending on how wide they are and how narrow they are, if you got a ring that's got narrow grooves and you put gear oil in it, you're going to have a problem shifting the gear. Not want to go in the gear because it can't disperse the fluid fast enough through the metal, the ring itself. So it's hard to shift it.
Fucking up. Because I take it all Saginals and I just with the gear oil.
Especially when it's cold. Especially when it's cold. Hey, why are you not shifting the gear? What's going on? Take the fluid out, put thinner fluid in it. You'll see the difference.
Wow.
It's all about the synchro ring.
Well, what about Lucas?
Lucas, stay away from it. Especially on automatics. Nothing wrong with it on the stick shifts, but the automatics.
Okay. So don't do no additives because I've added it to the motor.
Motor's okay.
And I tell you what, I've overkilled it. I mean, I bought a gallon of each, put the gallon of oil in it, gallon of fuel, and I had this old Pontiac Bonneville backfiring and shit. I was like, God, what did I buy?
Ate a lot of beans.
Hey, 40 minutes later, I was driving to Wagner, and I got some fuel, and I remember driving on the way back, and that sumbitch with all that Lucas, overkilling it with Lucas, it cleaned right up. I drove that sumbitch 4 more years. Yeah. That's insane. I drove a car to college.
I just did a transmission.
But don't put it in the tranny.
Not on automatics. Oh, shit. Not on automatics. Because the product's not a bad product. It's not that their intentions is to hurt the tranny.
Well, Lucas, I've had shit smoking.
Yeah.
And I've added their oil stuff, and the motor quit smoking. Do good for another year or two till it's sold.
Ask yourself the question, why?
I thought it was because they had some kind of special polymer additives that filled in grooves and stuff. And I thought by adding their transmission, Lucas is one of the ones I trust. Mm-hmm. I thought by adding it to the tranny, surely their engineers knew what they were doing.
Well, they produced Lucas for stop seal leaking. Okay, what are they gonna utilize to swell a seal? Okay, you got outer seals of the transmission, and you got one leaking. What's the person going to think of? Oh, they put Lucas. They say it'll stop the leak. There's no such thing as stop the leak. Outer seal. It's leaking. That's it. It's done. But what happens to the inner seals? So if they're going to swell the seal on the outside, stop the leaking. That's basically what it is. It's to swell the seal. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen to the inner seals?
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. So when you take one of those transmissions apart, which I just
said. So it may seal it, but you're kind of hurting it too.
Oh, yeah. You're hurting it. So I did one this past week, and I pulled the piston out, and I knew he had additive Lucas in it. I asked him, "You put Lucas in this transmission, didn't you?" And he started looking at it. How'd you know that? As it because I can feel it on the components of the transmission. It's real slimy, and when you grab the piston out of the drum, you pick it up, you can see the seal go like a bubble gum. That's what it does. It swells them out. So you hurt the unit.
Okay. Well, y'all heard it here. Yeah, don't be adding no additives
Lucas
to the training.
Lucas, Not saying it's a bad product. No, I'm not saying that. It's just that Lucas, it does what it says it's gonna do.
What do you think trans brakes? Does that smoke the torque converter pretty bad? Because I got a tranny brake on this Chevelle, and I've heard that if you leave it in gear and you're sitting there holding it, that it heats up the fluid really bad.
But because you're holding, it's actually holding 2 gears in the transmission for the trans brake until you hit the button.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, and yeah, it's gonna heat it up, but it's something you can't get away from. So, it's
tranny brake transmissions. I played with one just a couple of years ago. They're different. You put it in reverse, and then you got to hit the button, then it'll back up.
Oh yeah,
you're like, what in the world's going on here?
Yeah. It's designed that way.
It's definitely different.
But the thing is that
what about that violent? I mean, what about these guys that wants 5? You know, they call me and they say, I want a 5,000 stall.
Oh,
you know,
yeah. Well,
they just let go of it at $5,000.
The stall factor, the torque converter, is what a lot of people don't understand about the stall. Mm-hmm. The stall converter is designed by taking fins out of the inside of the converter to produce the stall. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you got a whole bunch of fins, so you narrow the fins down, it's gonna want to take off quicker when you put it in gear. Boom. It's already multiplying torque, fluid torque into the trans. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you produce a stall, you're taking away fins, every other fin, to produce a certain stall.
Okay.
So way the purpose was that is when you get an engine, and you got this engine's got a nice high lift in camshaft, really rapid. Well, you have a regular stall converter in it, and you put in gear, boom, kills your engine right away.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna want to take the transmission to take off. You got to brake. Yeah, and it's not. It's gonna kill the engine right away. So you want it to idle, produce the stall on the converter, so it'll stay idling. Yep. Then, if you want a higher stall, that's when you want to go ahead and hit the gas and the brake at the same time to beat up the RPM of that stall, and boom, launch it.
Now, I did notice something with every one of them I put in, and I put quite a few in. But I noticed that when you order something that says 3,000 or 3,800 stall, everybody always says, "Well, I was holding the brake and I brought the gas up and it started pushing the car at 2,100." I tell everybody this, and I don't know if this is normal across the board, but I'm telling you, after 30 of them that I've done, the only way you can bring that stall number up to the 3,600 or whatever is with a tranny brake. Yeah. If you foot brake, it will engage sooner. I don't know what to say because I don't know why that is, but I know with a trans brake, you buy a 3,200 stall, generally you can get it up there close to the 3,200, if not right on it. Mm-hmm. Okay? But if you don't have a tranny brake and you just have a high stall in it and you pull up there with your foot brake, you start bringing your RPMs up to about 21, 2,200 and you got the brakes held, it starts pushing you.
Yeah.
Why is that?
The stall is too low. The stall is too low. It doesn't have a flash to flash it, so the stall is too low.
And what's the worst transmission you hate working on? Tell me that one. What's the worst car? How about that Porsche? Is Porsche okay?
Porsche is fine. They're good products.
You know, it was actually cheap to work on. I bought a damn fuel pump for only $46.
Yeah.
And I bought some shocks for the hoods and stuff. I think I spent $300 on all kinds of parts.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway.
What year is it?
That one's it's an 88. It's an older one.
Yeah, it's an older one.
But it is not expensive to own. I was shocked. It's very, very cost effective.
The worst transmission that I worked on, any transmission can be your worst nightmare if you don't know what you're doing. Especially if you're calibrating, you don't understand the calibrations to it.
You probably hate front wheel drives, don't you?
No, I love them.
Do you?
Yeah, I love front wheel drives. I love front wheel drives. I mean,
get them in, get them out, huh?
Get them in, get them out.
Now, hey, you also do mechanic work too, a little bit.
Yes, we do some mechanical, depending on the workflow of the transmission side. If I get very slow, the market gets down. I do automatic.
You know what was cool? I took my Jeep over to Frank.
Yeah.
And just a little story. He not only did the transmission, but he said, "Hey, you need a cable." Yeah. Hey, I seen you had one motor mount bad. We might as well do both.
Yeah. Yeah.
He done that. And then he said, "You know, them U-joints look a little."
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, hell, if it needs it, just put it on there. And every little thing that he seen that was wore out that he thought I'd have problems with, he fixed it.
I didn't want him coming back telling me, hey, something wrong with this Jeep. I'd rather him enjoy driving it. That was my whole intention.
I love that Jeep.
Yeah. You driving it?
I drive it every day.
There you go.
Right now, it's getting painted.
Is it? Oh, all right.
Yeah, getting a new red paint job.
Cool.
The old hide ride.
How's the tranny doing? How's the transmission doing on that one?
Good.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Chrysler's, they're funny characters on transmissions because when you build them, you do the best to them, this and that. They have a tendency that they don't want to shift right, take off second gear until it gets all the stuff going through and everything.
I mean, you're right. It does have a little funky shift sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fine. I heard that transmission there is actually not a real good one. So, but I don't want to. Everybody's like, "Well, put a V8 in your Jeep." And you know what? I would if that one was totally blown.
Yeah.
Well, I take that back. I almost think I would put one of those new little Cummins conversions. They got a little Cummins turbo diesel conversion. The only reason why I say this, now after having an automatic Jeep, I've had sticks.
Yeah.
God, I love four-wheel driving it. I like going through fields because you can creep through rocks and everything else because it's automatic.
Oh, yeah.
So you can hold on the brake and gas at the same time. I noticed with the little motor, that thing is more agile.
Yeah.
It gets through creeks, around rivers. It gets through stuff a little bit easier than something with a V8.
Yeah.
No, it's fuel injected. It has cold air. It's hard top. Have you seen my Jeep? Yeah. I love it.
I built
I just keep fixing it up.
Transmission for a local that had a Jeep. It was rock climbing.
Yeah.
Jeeps. And this guy kept saying that, man, this transmission, and when I go up there and makes a shift, it's so rough that it spins the tires as it's climbing. I said, you don't need that. You don't want to do that. And so I built him a 350 transmission for it. He had a 350 transmission on it. And I calibrated it on my own.
Yeah.
And he loved it. Everything going on, it hit, but it's just enough to where it don't spin the tires, but gives you the torquiness to get up that rocks. That's what he loved.
The only thing I hate about my Jeep is it's weak.
Yeah.
The little 4-cylinder in it, man. I mean, it's screaming at 65, 70. Its tongue's hanging out.
You put a V6. Put a V6 in it.
Well, yeah, it's just everything works so good.
Yeah.
Why touch?
Why mess with it?
It runs so good. It's feeling good. I mean, I'm serious. Now I just bump it.
That's it.
Climb in, put it in gear.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Dave's happy with his Jeep.
Yeah, so I there's some things that, yes, I wouldn't mind it being automatic V8 if everything worked.
Right.
But I'm really looking into that Cummins conversion. They make a direct drop in that'll bolt to the tranny and everything. Wow. And I thought, boy, that ain't too bad. And it's $5,500. But hell, I mean, look at motors now. They're $3,000 to $6,000.
Easily.
New ones.
Yeah, easily.
All day long.
Yep.
Now you got about 500 million cars at your place.
Yeah, I know.
Are those all yours?
Neither one of them is mine.
You are busy, man.
I make so.
I feel bad for him.
I make so much money. I drive a Pacifica.
Well, you got the new woman.
Yeah.
So obviously, you're having to keep up with that and stuff. How long you been with her?
2 years.
Yeah, you've been with
2
her
years.
a while.
Yeah.
That's why you don't have any money.
Yeah, she's a pretty good girl. She doesn't depend on me on the support.
Well, you heard it here first, ladies. Frank is not available.
No.
Yeah,
I don't want to test the green eyes other side.
She's a cute little booger.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you're lucky man. Lucky man, you did good. You did very good.
Hey, when they say when you find your soulmate, I found it.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Someday in your lifetime, you're gonna find one, and finally, I found one.
I hear you. Mine's as ornery as I am. So.
She's a good person, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she is.
yeah.
She's a good woman.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
well,
Supergirl.
Yeah, Supergirl with all her stuff. Oh dear Lord. Well, hey, so you when you move over here to your new location, everybody check you out. Are you going to try to get you a little website going, stuff like that, so everybody can look at you?
Yeah.
There's the man.
That's what I'm going to do. Is to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Back years ago, I had some stuff that I've done. I've done so much things that modifying certain things and that, and the pace is so fast. I never slowed myself enough to pan some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And back then, I know that the websites. Obviously, my thing is like the sign.
Well, you're probably like me. I'm technology
Yeah.
illiterate, for the most part.
With a phone, I'm like,
But but the way that he's put stuff on the internet, Joe here,
right?
And I know Joe, you do a lot of stuff everywhere for everybody. The way that he, when they look up electrician here in town, it pulls right up. That's what I was saying.
Right.
That'd be good for you. Transmission guy, you first.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and because people are gonna ask. My word of mouth here is very, very high.
Yeah.
And people ask. I get people come into the shop today.
Yep.
And they'll sit there and say, "How long you been here?" And I'll tell them, "I've been here 11 years now, as far as the shop. I lived here all my life. Never knew you was a transmission shop here locally." So the reputation's high.
Yeah.
Due to the fact that a lot of people ask me, "Why don't you advertise stuff?" I say, "It's only two of us here, and it's a lot of cars.
Yeah.
I can't handle that many cars." So
Yeah, but you take pride in your work.
oh yeah,
That's
it.
what I like.
Yeah.
He takes pride. The quality is bar none.
I
you're
never
gonna
stop.
You're going to give him your honest opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even told him, I need the cheapest shit. I just need this thing to roll. And he's like, we can make that happen too.
Yeah.
So
Give
Frank's
an
on.
example.
I'm not telling all you YouTubers that he's the highest,
But the thing is, cheap.
You
And
better.
high dollar. It's
Well,
not,
they need to
it's
realize
not
what they're going to get. If you're asking for good,
Yeah,
cheap,
it's gonna
cheap,
cost.
it's like the triangle that old Eddie Murphy said.
Yes.
You can't have all three.
Right.
You can't have good, cheap,
Yeah.
last long time.
Yeah.
He said you can only have these two things at one time.
Right.
So, if you want to have good and last a long time, you can't have it cheap. It's going to cost you some money. He said you can't have those three, and he's right. You can't. You can't. Have
There's
those three.
always been a question nationwide where, as long as I've been in the transmission industry, the question that always came up from the consumers. They always ask me, "How come the transmissions only last 1 year? After that year, I'm right back to the same problem." I said that depends on the cost of the parts.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go cheap? That's what happens. It only gonna last a year. It's just like TVs at Walmart. You got 5 Sonys. How come this Sony's cheaper than this Sony and this Sony and this Sony? It's the same thing.
Well, and I think Frank here, I told him, I said, if we ever, I asked him if we've actually been talking about me being like a dealer for him, selling some of these Python transmissions, through us. And, it'll be in our section, cheating, skeeting section. If you ain't a cheating, you ain't a skeeting. Skeet.
Yeah. But everything's possible. Everything's possible. Yeah, everything's possible. I do the customer, the clientele as they walk in. Everybody, I treat them individually. I don't, I have learned that I have to work with their capability of their finances. You've got some people out there that ain't making a lot of money in their jobs. They got families and stuff, and they're struggling. And what's the worst thing is when they can't get their car fixed.
Well, you care.
Yeah.
It's like me. I do the same thing. I give everybody options.
Yeah.
So, and you have to do that, where we're at and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And racing's kind of the worst. Racing's one of those things that it takes a lot of money to get there. But if you know enough people, and you're willing to buy an old used part and clean on it yourself, but it's a good quality used part or something like that, you can get by. But I have to judge that too with customers and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I know Frank here, he does give a crap. Well, Frank, give them one more time. Give a phone number.
918-774-8162.
All right, guys.
Oklahoma.
Subscribe.
I'm no more Texan. I'm a Noki.
There you go. No Espanol.
No Espanol.
Hit like, subscribe, and Frank, thank you very much for coming out.
No
Appreciate
problem,
you.
Anytime.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye.